dead ledger text. Look at the writing on this tombstone. This is a ledger. This is the slab of stone that sits on top of a grave. This means dead. This is the tombstone, and the writing on the tombstone, which is written in a Dog Latin text, a debased Latin, known as, in Black's Law Dictionary, it's known as the Latin for the illiterate, which is really strange, isn't it? It's a text that in the English language means debased. In the Webster's Dictionary, Dog Latin is a debased form of text, which means criminal, debauched, immoral, and against God. Now, the strange thing here is this is a presumption that this reads Alfred Henry Madams. But if all the grammatical rules and everything that this text is governed by is correct, then this tombstone does not say Alfred Henry Madams at all. Because when you use this type of ancient Latin text, or this type of Latin symbolic text, it has to be hyphenated between the sides in order to string the sentence together. So what this ledger is, grammatically, is a lie. Just like all of these tombstones that exist in this place, in this graveyard. The strange thing about it is this ledger has a 2-to-1 ratio. This slab of stone that sits on top of a grave. And these ledgers that come in the mail, that also house the same all uppercase type of letter of text. It's also found on your banking contracts, your contracts with the government, the power companies, etc. That ledger text that's found on the tombstones is also found in these ledgers that come in the mail, that are also a 2-to-1 ratio, exactly the same as the ledger that sits on top of a tomb. A normal letter isn't, and even a registered postal letter that you go to the post office and get a registered mail, they're not the same size. It's not a 2-to-1 ratio. But these things with the ledgers come in, and the writing, the ledger text writing, just like the dead ledger text here comes in there. This is also, well, like a coffin, a tomb. And I think what's happening is that when you break the seals of these envelopes, it's like breaking the seal of a grave. That's a bad conduct to do that. This ledger text is also an engraved image, because the people that make these tombstones are engravers, and God warned not to go near this text here. So it just goes to show, what's happening to us. A dead man has no rights. So maybe what the new modern style of government, or maybe what governments have always tried to do in the past, is render the living man as nothing more than a dead corpse, a corporation, the dead speaking. And by conferring its dead accounts to man, it deceives us by this grammatical deception with these texts that we assume we can read as English, and we spend our whole life reading this text here, when in fact it's not English. This text is not even ancient Latin. This is Dog Latin, debased Latin, which destroys the essence of the text, which destroys the meaning of it. So by the time you get through life and you wind up inside one of these graves, under one of these ledgers, with this type of writing on your tomb, that means that your life or your footprint or your birthright to this land, the recognition of you that was living, is now pronounced dead. And when you wind up under one of these graves, this type of debased, dog Latin, immoral, debauched text written on your tombstone, I think that you've made it into hell. And I think the serpent or the usurper that did this to you takes your estate, your link to the mineral and the energy wealth. It takes your dominion. What God granted to you has been taken by the serpent. I think you've got to be more vigilant. Remember what Christ said? You've got to learn to read the sign. And if you can read the sign, then you will know that that is sign, sin, immoral, debased, and against God. That's how you die. Just like God said, if you eat from the tree of knowledge, you will surely die. I think the tree of knowledge is legal title.